Hey everybody, it's Tripl-L coming in to talk about My Hero Academia anime episode 18. There we go. The episode where we see the ending fight. I'm gonna tell you, I enjoyed the action for it. I thought it was quite cool. I think this is like the best form of animation, just really good choreography, good shots, not that ridiculousness that you got with like the Ida fight with versus Juzo back in a few weeks ago. This is my favorite kind of animation. So I was very happy to see it. I think like they brought it. They did a pretty nice episode all around. And Fuyumi was in it, so I'm personally extremely happy. Heck, I'm looking at a scene of her right now. Yeah, still pretty awesome. Now, very quickly, I want to just say, because we got the preview for next week's episode, and next week's episode is going to be following Aizawa. That's going to be episode 19. I just want to say, because for the people that were on the live stream with me, when we were looking at that one leak from 4chan where they talked about it, they did say that the Kurogiri episode would be next. But, you know, if you were there was also, the leak said that there would also be a Bakugo family filler episode. So, if that's happening, that's gonna be interesting. But, you know, it's from 4chan, so we don't really know. Then again, last week 4chan had the spoilers ahead of everybody, so fingers crossed that we don't get the Bakugo filler episode, because that's just going to make things really interesting for the last 3 episodes of the season if we're doing 24. But we'll see. Anyway, let's get into the episode. Going to give you my quick little recap here. We started the episode with a flashback setting up Ending's fascination with Endeavor. What that flashback really told you is that Ending is not well adjusted, so we should not really feel bad for him. What the episode tries to do is just very quickly establish Ending, make him a really big thing. That's why the episode puts you in Ending's head. Because Ending, he doesn't have build up like other villains, so because of that, you have to employ a lot of different techniques to just make you understand why we gotta deal with him and why he's important to Endeavor. There's a few other things that happen with Ending that kind of try and make him part of the Endeavor mythos, that try to make him a bigger part of the Endeavor mythos. It's because of like stuff in the future. It's because of one critical line in the future that Ending basically is a plot device there to cause conversations between Endeavor and Natsu and give Bakugo and the boys an opportunity to win Endeavor's challenge. Like later on in the episode, you see that Endeavor says that the boys were able to cover for Endeavor's mistake, and that's how they get their victory. But overall, Ending, he comes into the game as a plot device. Then the author had to make the plot device work in the context of Hero Academia. So that's why we're like this. That's why we get a character that comes in with a flashback. And that's why we get a character that has such a passionate kind of rhetoric. It's just to make the plot device work and not seem very jarring. Anyway, after that, we also get this line saying who Endeavor caught. Manga readers, this was in the manga as well, but it's a pretty nice little connection, and it's good to see that the anime didn't skip this little line. Then we see Ending getting out of prison, and at that point, when you see Ending in the episode, you have to sincerely wonder, what the heck did they do to him in that prison? Because they didn't fix him. They didn't try to... I wonder if he even got counseling, because this does not look at the face of a guy that got counseling. Yeah, no, man. Like, when you see moments like this, it makes you think, in some ways, maybe the Hero Academia Society deserves what it gets. Because if you're just putting people in jail, and you're not even trying to make them more well-adjusted to the point that you're letting them walk around in their villainous costume, yeah, like, maybe you do deserve to have an influx of villain. Maybe you do deserve to get absolutely shafted by villains every single day, or people breaking the law, because you're not doing anything to fix the problem. I mean, this is probably one of the most just jarring things of everything. It's just knowing that he walked out of his prison looking like that. I mean, did it take it would not take a rocket scientist to think this guy's gonna relapse, because they probably don't even touch. Yeah, no, man, like, I can't. When we see, then we go. Anyway, we then have the vague overview on Toya, where Fuyumi pretty much talks around it. Doesn't say what happened, but it instead talks about the reactions everyone had. So this is just a storytelling technique to just say that, hey, I'm not telling you what actually happened. That's for later. So just know this is all the stuff that it caused. Annoying, because, you know, at this point in time we kind of want to know, but there's also the fact that they have to kind of It's the family. The family's having a hard time. After that, we had a very nice small moment of Bakugo yelling for the recipe from Fuyumi. I thought that was nice, but this is one of those moments where I kind of wish, Bakugo, you have an indoor voice. Like, to some degree, these angry outbursts are just kind of annoying. Like, we know Bakugo is capable of calm rationality. This was one of the things that was introduced with the character at the beginning of Hero Academia when him and Kirishima were dealing with stuff at USJ, right? We know that the character is capable of being calm. And heck, you even see a thing later in the episode when Endeavor doesn't give Bakugo a reaction that he wants. Bakugo kind of quiets down a little bit. It's unfortunate that, you know, the joke of Bakugo having outbursts comes out even here. But then you have to like also keep in mind that was a comedic moment 100%. Like, the comedy is in the fact that he's yelling. But it just makes him seem even more of a nutcase in that particular regard. Anyway, after that we had the best Fuyumi and Izuku scene. I could have really have done without them just whiting out the whole thing. I could have done with her just, you know, put a shoujo filter over it. Just have the regular background. Like, the white was a little bit too much. It kind of hurt my eyes. I was not a fan of that. Then we see Natsu getting kidnapped while he was talking to his girlfriend. I don't think you're going to see Natsu's girlfriend in the anime because she only appeared in a cover, but she has little mouse ears. It's really adorable. We know he has a girlfriend, so it's okay for me to say that. After that, we move into the fight after a moment of character interactions in the car, which I thought were really cute. The fight, like I said, looked good in general. We then have Endeavor and Ending talk, and we learn that Endeavor remembers him from 7 years ago. So this is just another thing that says, wow, way to go, Endeavor, for remembering like a random guy that you took down 7 years ago. Like, that's actually very impressive. But Endeavor's a professional, so we shouldn't be surprised. We then move into the boys helping out, where they bust out of the car and they get their costume pieces. That looked like another really nice sequence. After that, we have the moment where the boys were using everything they learned to try and help the situation. Now, I think one of the unfortunate things is because of the anime and the way that the anime is adapted, it feels like a little bit slower than you would have seen it in the manga, but overall, seeing them apply all their lessons, very clear. When you saw that, though, that they were applying their lessons, and when you see that they win against Endeavor in their competition, it tells you, oh, yeah, you know, this is the arc pretty much wrapping up. They pretty much succeeded in the arc's goal. And this is one of the things that really tells you that Ending was ultimately a plot device to facilitate not only the Endeavor Natsu talk, but also facilitate the kids finishing up the little arc that they had here. Anyway, we have the Endeavor stop moment, and this one is another one where I think the anime makes it a little bit wonky, because you see Endeavor going at high speeds for a good portion of time before finally reaching Ending, and then, you know, you have Natsu's face and then the stop. For me, it looked a little bit awkward because at the speed that he was going, he wouldn't have come to such an easy stop like that. And in the manga, because the speed factor isn't so noticeable, it's a little bit easier to accept the sudden stop. But I'm not even sure if he was actually running at full speed in the manga, but, you know, that doesn't matter. What I'm trying to say, it felt a little bit awkward because at that speed there would have been stopping distance. I kind of would have liked seeing that in animation instead of just Natsu's face and then just going to Endeavor's feet. Because if you show the hesitation for the anime, I think it would have had a much bigger effect. And it also would have made that look even more jarring, because it's like, yo, this guy was going at 100% and then he's just like, whoa, right? I think that's where the anime probably could have done better with that particular situation and kind of elevated it. It's just, otherwise, to me, it looked a little bit awkward. But at the same time, depicting Endeavor coming to a sudden stop like that after he was going so fast, that is awkward. Because it makes the situation even, you can say, it makes the situation look even stupider. Maybe the best way of doing this would have had to have Endeavor about to step out, and then when he sees Natsu come up, he like his feet stop altogether. Actually, this is actually a really good point. Let me check the manga real quick. Okay, I checked the manga and I'm looking at this. Yeah, the manga comes off a little bit better, because what happens in the manga is that Endeavor and Ending, they're only like maybe 3 car spaces apart. Ending jumps back, And then Endeavor makes the comment that ending's off balance, so he can reach him faster now. And you can kind of see like the movement line, so like that probably means he like started going forward. But then you get the sequence of Natsu and his feet have stopped, right? Overall, the manga's, in this sense, maybe the manga's implementation is a little bit in this sense, the slowness of the manga kind of does better for this scene. It's because otherwise it just in practice it looks a little bit awkward. And mind you, I said 3 cars lengths because you can see in the anime when they're doing it, they kind of gave more they made it seem a little bit more epic. But yeah, this is pretty much just one of those really awkward moments for adaptations in general. What can you do? Anyway, after that we had the kids stepping up, and we get the finishers as Endeavor stares on amazed. I believe at this moment Endeavor says something like, in only 1 week you guys have, you know, put into practice the lessons. That's whatever. He also made a comment about how Hawks has a good eye, and it's like, what are you talking about, Endeavor? Like, these are kids at UA. These are kids who have been facing villains. Like, it's not about Hawks having a good eye. Heck, you didn't even want Bakugo and Izuku there. It's not about him having a good eye. It's about you picking from the best school in Japan. Like, come on. That was a bad line. It was a bad line. We then have Endeavor hugging Natsu, where you have also Bakugo getting away, and you have Ending crying. We have Bakugo gloating and not getting a reaction, which really says a lot about Bakugo. He probably likes playing the game. We then have Natsu and the Endeavor conversation. I think that was a great combo. I thought it was a great combo in the anime, but again, this is one of those situations where you have to remember that Hero Academia, if you don't have villains in Hero Academia, a lot of people aren't going to become better people, or a lot of people aren't going to have the talks that they need to have. A big example of this was Muscular. Because Koda, if Koda isn't shown the dangers of the world, he's not going to like heroes. Like, if you had to try and turn Koda to liking heroes, it would take years. But put a little bit of danger, and that kid will automatically figure it out. And it's the same thing here. The people in Hero Academia, they take advantage of villains a lot. Well, the author takes advantage of villains a lot. The villains by themselves are responsible for a lot of personal development for a lot of people. Quite literally, without the villains, a lot of people wouldn't become better. Anyway, with the Endeavor conversation, I generally like the idea that Endeavor didn't want to put Natsuo in a place where Natsuo couldn't complain at Endeavor. And the idea is pretty simple, right? It's pretty much, if he ever has anything bad to say to Endeavor, if he goes in there and he thinks, wait, but this guy saved my life. I would have died had it not been for Endeavor. How can I complain at him, right? That's specifically the thought process that Endeavor wanted to prevent. So it's a really neat conversation, and I like just the nuance within it. Also, Endeavor saying that he doesn't want forgiveness, he just wants to atone. Yeah, that's great too. Because this is something that a lot of people, well, not a lot of people, but vocal minority of people in Hero Academia have an issue with. When they hear Endeavor say atone, they think he's going to get a redemption arc, and it's, no, not really. Like, Endeavor doesn't have any punishment being delayed for him. Like, when you say atone, it's like you're going to take the punishment, whatever comes down your way, and you're going to try to be better along with receiving the punishment. This isn't necessarily just redemption. This is a guy trying to fix the things that he broke and trying to live a better life. Endeavor probably still has tons of suffering left in the future, and to the kids' credits, the kids can call him out till the day that they themselves are gray and Endeavor's senile. I personally wouldn't mind. They got enough baggage to justify it. Like, heck, Natsu could forgive him if he wants, like 5 years down the line, and still kind of just call out all the negative times that Endeavor's had on him. Like, it's just, for Endeavor, we know that Endeavor's a victim of his tunnel vision, and that tunnel vision ended up really affecting and ruining some lives, so they have leeway to do whatever they want with it. But ultimately, you have to just remember, when it comes to Endeavor, this is a character who's still going to be suffering as he fixes things. Another line I thought was interesting was the Natsu line saying, why should he be the one to change, or why should he change? I thought that was an interesting line. Like, again, he doesn't need to change, but it's interesting just because change is a natural part of life, where the more you accrue information, you know, you change, you adapt to the information as you go forward. Most people, it's best to not stay static. It's best to always kind of be expanding. But that was the cry of a guy who, you can see, Natsu is a person who is ultimately wounded from the whole situation. So this is how he processes. Anyway, after that, There was an interesting line where they were talking about the drug. And it's interesting because, like in last episode, no one had a problem calling it trigger. And this is just an interesting thing in general. In Hero Academia, they don't like calling the drug trigger. That's why the filler episode was so novel. And it's unfortunate that the anime studio didn't think to just call it trigger here, and instead they're like, oh, boosted. It's unfortunate. I would like more integration of vigilantes and Hero Academia, but what can you do? Anyway, after that we have more of the bright light rhetoric, which is going to be important for the future. So just keep it in mind, this was an idea that was being set up for Endeavor. We have a reminder that Bakugo has a hero name, but he says he's not going to share it yet. And we end off with the Endeavor moving his family away because he talks about the dream and he ultimately wants his family to be happy. When this originally happened, I thought this would be important for the future, but now I'm not too sure because of the way that Hero Academia is moving. But just keep this in mind, this was a big moment for Endeavor. But I'm not sure if this is ever going to come to pass. I mean, Hero Academia is still going on, so maybe, but overall, yeah, that's the recap with the review in it. I had my notes, but I think I already talked about the things I wanted to talk about in the episode. Overall, this was a fun episode of Hero Academia. I think we got quite a lot done. We covered 3 chapters of material, and it looked good. It was pretty. Yeah, you know, I wish all episodes could be this nice. For anyone that wants to know, we covered like 3 chapters of material. But yeah, this is probably like my favorite version of a Hero Academia episode, because you get to talk about writing techniques with ending as a plot device. You get to talk about actual emotional rhetoric with, you know, things like Natsu. You get to see some cool movements, which was pretty much the kids in Endeavor the entire time. You also get to talk about just the challenges and adaptation, which I think it's pretty worthwhile. That's a fun, satisfying episode of Hero Academia. Oh, and for Yumi makes it 100% better too, so there's also that. Anyway, guys, let me know what you thought down below, and until next time, I hope you have an absolutely great day.